Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our weekly recap and get to look into some of the trades that I've taken for this week. And as I'm doing this video today is on Friday, and of course, I got to take three trades for the week. That is on Tuesday. We also took some another trade on Wednesday, and of course, yesterday we took a trade that is on Thursday. And unfortunately, for that trade, we got to take some loss. So I'll start with the trade that we took that is on Tuesday. Allow me to just go ahead and get to expand that trade. That is my screen. And of course, the trade that we took that is on Tuesday, it was USD JPY, which is United States dollar versus Japanese yen. So right here, guys, right now I'm on my trading view. And before I can even get to go further, guys, if you're looking to join my WhatsApp group whereby I get to share these trades when I get to take them, just go ahead to get to join the link. There's a WhatsApp group link in the description section, as well as make sure you also get to hit the subscribe button so that you always be updated whenever I get to take these trades. Also remember, I don't take any trades on Monday as well as on Fridays, usually 50-50, but my best trading days they're usually on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So let's just go ahead and get to look at this trade that I got to take on Tuesday. So with USD JPY, if you have noticed, I usually get to trade that is pairs which have more volatility, and of course trades which gets to make some moves because trending trades, that's where the money is, and that's where you can get to predict the market and of course make some profit. So I usually start by looking at my weekly, and I usually get to do my analysis from the weekly time frame. And of course, right away you can see I started with USD JPY and weekly time frame. If I get to switch to the line chart, you can see the market was making new high and of course new lower highs. That is new high highs, new lower highs, and of course the market was on weekly basis. The market was on an uptrend. So let's just go ahead. We get to make sure we get to note that. So on the weekly, we are on an uptrend. So let me just go ahead and get to quickly. So on the weekly, we are on an uptrend. So now we need to narrow down. We get to switch the candlestick. You can get to see for the previous week, the weekly candle closed with some momentum to the upper side. So now, if we get to go to the daily time frame, so let me just go ahead. I get to make sure and let me switch this on right here. So on the daily time frame, if you get to look at the daily time frame, we need to make sure that we are looking at the weekly, daily, and of course for the 4 hours. Those trends they have to align. So for the weekly time frame, we can see it's an uptrend, and of course we have both agreed it's on an uptrend. So on the daily time frame, if you get to the line chart, you can see the market has been making new highs, and of course at this point you can see the market was still pushing to the upper side. If you go back to the candlestick formation, you can see the previous candle, because the daily candlestick, how it closes tells us a lot. You can see for the previous, before I got to take this trade, there was this was the trade for Monday. Remember, on Monday I don't trade. I get to give the market time to show its hand first, so that now I can proceed and of course get to react to what the market gets to show me. So on Monday you can see there was this strong bullish engulfing candle. This is the daily. I also on daily time frame, that's where I usually get to draw my zones. So you can come over here and you can see there was this strong zone which was just broken, and of course the market had retested on the upper side and of course closed with this strong uh, bullish engulfing candle on the daily time frame. So by the time I was coming on Tuesday, now we have already confirmed that on daily the market is still also on daily the market is still on an uptrend. Very, very important that you get to make sure the trends they get to align. So now we are looking forward to the 4 hours time frame. We make sure also at the 4 hour time frame the market is also making new high highs, and of course we have already seen the market has broken above this zone, this daily zone over here, and of course has retested and of course has closed with a strong bullish daily engulfing candle. So if we get to narrow down to the 4 hour time frame, This is where the magic happens, and I usually get to take my entries at 4 hours time frame. So we have both agreed, we have all agreed that the weekly is uptrend, daily is uptrend. So for the 4 hours, if you get to switch the line one, for the line graph, you can see the market has been making new higher highs over here. The market hasn't formed any new lower low, and of course you can see over here the market really was pushing up, up and up. And of course, on the other side, if you can get to look at this is an inverse head and shoulder, which is a sign that the market, of course, is showing some momentum to the upper side. And of course, this was the neckline. You can see this the neckline. The market broke around this area. This was on Monday. You can see how the market broke, retested to this neckline, and of course formed the strong bullish. Of course, this was not an engulfing, but if you get to narrow down to the 3 hour, the 3 hours, because that's what I used to take that entry. There was the 3 hour right here, which had engulfed the previous 3 hours, and of course, there was strong rejection from the lower side. That's where I placed my stop loss, and of course, I got to take that trade with the 3 hours time frame. And of course, for the 4 hours, as I said, you can see there was formation of this inverse head and shoulder right there, and of course, the market retested to the neckline, and of course, we had this. So you can see the market, of course, unfolded very, very well, and of course, hit my TP. Of course, my trading partner had his TP, of course, all the way up here. And of course, for me, I managed to bag 2.27 because I trade from zone to zone. So that was for the 4 hours. Of course, we also confirmed it was also an uptrend. So that's how I usually get to take my trades. And of course, another important factor that I usually get to make sure that gets to guide me before taking any trade. And as I'll be showing you also later in the video, I broke that rule. Of course, I ended up taking a hit. That is on Thursday, so that is was yesterday. So I have to make sure that the daily candlestick gets to close in the direction in which I want to take that trade. So let's just go ahead and get to look into another trade that I took on Wednesday. That was USD CHF. So the same concept applies. So we start with weekly real quick. This one I got to take that trade on that is on Wednesday. We start with the weekly time frame. You can see the market on the weekly time frame hasn't made any new lower low, and of course for that case it has made new high. And for that case, for the weekly, you can definitely get to confirm that that trade is on uptrend. It's on an uptrend. That trade is on an uptrend. So if you get to narrow down to the daily now, so we have confirmed that the weekly is on an uptrend. We now need to go to the daily to confirm that. And as you can see, the market, of course, did make new lower low over here to just maintain that lower low at that zone right there. So by the time I was coming to look at this market, that is on Wednesday, you can see there was strong bulls coming in. That showed that there's a high probability of the market to keep pushing up. And of course, at the weekly time frame, the market was, of course, ranging at this region. So I was more of trading from this zone to this other zone. So I was definitely looking for the market to get all the way to this region right here, but I had to be more cautious. So for the daily, you can see the market, of course, if you get to switch to the line graph, you can see the market was making more of new high highs and but no new lower lows. For that case, it was more there was a high probability that the market could keep pushing up all the way to this region. So for that case, we could confidently say that the market at the daily time frame, it was still uptrend. So that's how I usually align my trends. It was on an uptrend. So now we need to confirm for the 4 hours. And also remember, there's that rule that I've told you. Before taking any trade, I have to wait for the previous daily candle, of course, to close engulfing in line with the direction of the trend. And for that case, you can see there was this strong bullish daily candle, which had closed perfectly. And of course, if you get now to switch to the 4 hours time frame, there was a zone over around this area. There was a zone around this area, and you can see for the 4 hours time frame, that's where I get to look for the price that is price pattern. And of course, for this case, you can see the market was forming inverse head and shoulder. There was this neckline around this area. You can see the market had broken above that region with an engulfing 4 hour candlestick, and for that case the market was on an uptrend even at 4 hours time frame, and for that case that was an enough confirmation for me to place my stop loss just below that previous lower low, and of course that is the previous lower high, and of course I got to take that trade aggressively. I took an aggressive trade, that is entry. Of course, I was targeting the market to go all the way up here, but there's also this zone which is holding. But I'm looking forward for this market, of course, to hit all the way up here because it's just closing this gap over here. Of course, this market will definitely get to hit this TP, but I took my take profits around this area and I was contented with that. So for that case, for the fours, you can confidently say the market was still on an uptrend, and that's how a conference that I get to check every now and then. So it was still on an uptrend. So you can see how the trend from weekly, daily, and fours get to align for you to take in a trade. So for that case, I got to take that trade and of course to bag my profit, and I was contented with that. So for that one, I was looking to bag 2.5 by risking 1%. So that's how I get to do it. So that was on Wednesday. So yesterday, Thursday, I got to take another trade, and unfortunately, this trade I took yesterday, it was a Euro card, and here we are. And the mistake that I did was that one major trade that I usually, that's major rule that I usually get to talk about over and over. So this is what I usually get to look at. By the time I was about to take this trade, I was looking for the weekly to be down. I was waiting for this market to break this zone and of course retest. But unfortunately, guys, I got I would say I got more excited about the trade. I didn't wait for the daily candlestick to close, and of course, I usually wait for the for this one. I could be looking for wait for the daily candlestick to close below the zone. You can see no daily candlestick had closed below this trade, this zone, and that's one of the rules that I broke, and of course I ended up taking a loss on this one. So I was also expected to wait for the break and retest at 4 hours time frame. That didn't happen, and those are some of the rules that I broke. Of course, ended up taking a loss. A loss, of course, at the 4 time frame. I was anticipating for the market to keep going down because there was this potential head and shoulder, and of course you can see the market is still showing some potential maybe sometimes next week, but I'll be more patient. And of course, for entry, wait for bearish 4 hour engulfing candle, and of course there was nothing like that over here. And of course, was looking forward for this market to cook a setup, probably Thursday, Friday, all next week. But I broke all those rules and ended up taking that trade and got stopped out. But that's part of the game. Sometimes you might take some losses, especially if you don't get to follow the rules to the T. So those are the trades that I took this week. Hopefully, you get to learn something from that. I'll be dropping more of these videos of this kind every single week after I get to end up the week. I'll be dropping more of these videos, and of course, hopefully, guys, you can stay tuned and you'll be part of this team. And you can get to do that by hitting the subscribe button as well as joining our WhatsApp group link, whereby you'll be getting these trades right away before I get to execute them. And of course, we can also be interacting in that same group. So that's what I had for you for this week. Hopefully, I see you next week. Peace, guys, for now.